It's been a while again, but never mind, we are moving on. I thought I'd do a couple of book reviews and videos now because I have some time. So, starting with Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote, I think. I always thought it was Capote, but apparently not. Many people will know Breakfast at Tiffany's from the film starring Audrey Hepburn, and it is, I think, a classic. It certainly is in the Modern Classics by Penguin edition, so I would assume so. I personally hadn't seen the film, and from the blurb I didn't get that much, so I didn't really know what the book was going to be about, but it was super short and I read it fairly quickly. I think it's about 100 pages, and then there are some short stories also in this edition. The main story, Breakfast at Tiffany's, starts with a narrator who isn't really the main character. We never know his name, and he basically is there to show his relationship with observations of this other character, Holly Golightly. I think that's her surname. Yes. She's this kind of crazy, socializing character, and it's set in New York, so she's kind of makes the most of that scene. Basically everyone who interacts with her, sees her, or whatever, falls in love with her. She is very charming, apart from some who disagree with her lifestyle. Now, I heard a little bit that she was meant to be like a prostitute or something, and it's true that she does seem to have quite a few partners and that kind of stuff, but it doesn't seem to be that is actually what she is. She's just more casual about it than most people at the time were, I think, unless I've misinterpreted that. Character-wise, Holly is this vivacious person who seems pretty carefree, is always going out, partying, socializing, and it's quite a change for the narrator, who is trying to be a writer and is kind of struggling to get anywhere, and he sees her and they live in the same apartment building and he's kind of captivated. And Holly has a past. I'm not going to go into that because you probably haven't read it, so I don't want to give that away, but she's kind of confusing because a lot of the time she seems kind of naive. Well, maybe not naive, but not very perceptive. But then at the same time she makes really interesting observations, which Capote writes really beautifully. There's one about the narrator who she calls her brother's name just because she can get away with that kind of thing. And so she kind of confused me. I don't know whether I liked her, but she was quite different to a lot of characters I have read. As I said, the narrator isn't really featured that much. He's more kind of a vehicle for the rest of the novel, so he isn't that well developed, but he isn't meant to be. So again, I mean, I didn't feel massively attached to him. I did feel sorry that basically all these people were falling in love with Holly and she was just kind of like, well, let's go anyway, blah, blah. I don't know what that was. Plot wise, we meet them once Holly has left, and it's actually something has reminded the narrator of her, and he is then prompted to remember the series of events that led to her leaving. It's not that busy a plot, it's more about the characters and their interactions and that kind of stuff. Being so short, I mean, I floated through it. I wouldn't say the plot was amazing, but it was fine. As I said, Capote's writing was also quite poignant at times. There were some particular quotes which I think might be quite well known anyway. There's one about loving wild things that Holly says, and it was just beautiful. There were some other quite perceptive observations that she made about Fred, who's actually the narrator, not her brother. I can't remember the exact one, but about wanting desperately to be on the inside looking out, and that making him look stupid kind of thing. I don't know. It was just very interesting. I'm glad I read Breakfast at Tiffany's. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, or 3.5. It was pretty good. I didn't fall in love with it, but I'm happy that I read it and it was good. Yeah. Quick note on the short stories. I found these very interesting. They were quite unlike really anything I'd read before. They all pretty much revolved around friendship, apart from the first one. They all featured characters that I hadn't really come across at all. They were also all quite depressing, but they were very, very interesting. I liked the unusual friendships that they featured and the unusual perspectives that they put across, and I just found it very interesting. I think maybe more so than Breakfast at Tiffany's, because they were just so different for me. Yeah. Blah.